Welcome to my channel if you're new to my channel. On this channel, I look at how reality is playing out and how it relates to patterns in the sky and repetitive patterns in the sky. So I'm correlating astrology to theology, which is called astrotheology. So this is what I do on this channel. It's really fascinating because everything's starting to become more clear that history is repeating itself. And then, of course, that they use the movies to show us certain events that have happened in the past and kind of are mirroring them through to our timeline now. And then, of course, the media also is mirroring repetitive patterns. So I wanted to do a video on the nectar of the gods and the fountain of youth, which I want to get to, and I promised you guys that last time. But then all this stuff started happening with the Truman Show, and then Prince Harry saying his life was like the Truman Show. And then other people had sent me some stuff, so I wanted to go through that because I don't want to get away from the Truman Show. I want to finish this up, and I watched it, and I want to decode it, and then I want to go into the whole fall of 2023 and how I believe this is the time for the rapture. It's all aligning to mythology in the sky, and I want to go through all that in a chronological order so you guys understand what we're looking at in the sky for then. So Harry going on about that his life was like the Truman Show on May 13th was really weird for me because I just done this video on Truman Show, but hadn't watched the movie yet, and then somebody sends me this, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy, the synchronicity. And then when I watched the movie, I realized that we're really all Truman, every single one of us. We're stuck in this realm, and we just repeating our same trauma over and over again, not understanding that it's all an illusion, and that you have to see the illusion to be able to realize that there's a door that you got to get to. So I want to decode the movie. Interestingly enough, Harry S. Truman, president, was the 33rd president, and we also know that the number 33 is a big number in Freemasonry. So one of the first things I noticed in the movie, he was coming out of his home, and it was the number 36. Now, 36, the third house, is ruled by Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, and the sixth house is also ruled by Mercury, but in Virgo, which is like the Virgin Mary. I've done lots of videos on Virgo and the Spica star, and also the cluster of grapes on her right shoulder, and on her left shoulder is the Ascension star, and on her left side below Spica, which is the Washington Monument, the Tree of Life. The sun is there around October 17th. And then below that is the Shambhala star, which is heaven. So Virgo is really important. So the 3 and 6 is those two constellations. Gemini, which are the towers, the twin towers. And also 6 is Virgo, which is the house of work, but it's also was the house of slavery originally. So these numbers are tied to the mutable cross, 3, 6, 9. But 3 and 6 are the kind of locking in. 9 is, in Vortex math, the top of the pyramid, the way out. Now, of course, the dog that jumps on him every day, the black and white dog, which is like, you know, Masonic colors, ends up being named Pluto. Now, Pluto is really important in all this. He really rules fear, but he's also rules Scorpio, which is also to do with death and the way out of here. Now, he is going to be going into Capricorn, and I have to do a whole video on Capricorn that I have planned for you guys. He's going into Capricorn on the actual Odin Wild Hunt Day, which is January 6th, the Epiphany, which is when this riot happened with the Trump supporters going into the Capitol building last year. Well, actually this year. So this is all tying into this whole thing, I think, because Pluto happens to be going in there exactly the same day. That's in 2024. So the fall of 2023 is super important. especially since Pluto is going into this really symbolic constellation, Capricorn, which is Enki, who is supposed to have made humanity in the Anunnaki story, and who wants to free humanity, but he's also a trickster. He's really Mercury, Enki, okay? But in this case, he rules Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. But Capricorn has really a symbolic role in this as well, and this is where the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction was on the winter solstice, the last Christmas. So now, I just think this is really interesting that they have named the dog Pluto. And, you know, Pluto is a big part of our way out of here. He rules Scorpio, and that just on the upper top of Scorpio is Ophiuchus, the 13th zodiac, which is the doorway out of here. And, of course, Pluto is the doorway out of here, okay, because he's ruling that upper house of Scorpio, which is Ophiuchus. So it's really interesting that this is all aligning. So the dog's name's Pluto. He comes out of the house number is 36, and the exact number between the Odin Wild Hunt festival, which was the Wild Hunt protest that Trump had, you know, probably organized to go into the Capitol building, which is part of the Washington Triangle, right? It's all part of this because we have the Spica Star in Virgo as the Washington Monument. We have Regulus is the Capitol building, and then Arcturus, which is the White House, which is King Arthur, that star. And that's all Spring Triangle. Now, it's exactly 36 months between that Capitol riot date to when Pluto goes into this really significant constellation of Capricorn. So, yeah, it's just, is that a coincidence? I don't think so, but I'm putting it out there. Now, he has, this thing comes out of the sky, and it's got Sirius on it. It has 9 Canis, which is dog, right, which is God. I told you 9 is the top of the Vortex math. So this would be God, okay? So now Sirius is really important. It comes on the heliacal rising with the sun on July 23rd. We always have to remember Jim Carrey is associated with the number 23 because of his movie that he did, Number 23. And that was the last video I did all about that. So then he's, you know, being controlled. His whole environment is an illusion, and it's all being manufactured from the moon. Now, I told you guys everything's about the moon, right? Especially because in 1963, it was a water rabbit year. And the 60th Jubilee to another water black rabbit year is 2023, the number 23 again. And this is always about the moon. The rabbit is the moon, okay? So it's because this is what controls our realm. The moon controls our realm. Dan Winters has just done a really wonderful video. Actually, I was just listening to it. He did it today, explaining all the galactic history and also explaining that the moon, you know, what it is. So I'm going to put that in the link below so you guys can watch that. Then they show the number of days of his life running on this full screen, and it's 10910, which is 9/11. Right? It's always 9/11. It has to be referenced to 9/11 all the time because it's the 9 in the middle of the 2 towers or the 2 pillars, which is Gemini. So, yeah, the 9 and Gemini is important. The twin towers represented by twins always. Twins of the number 11, but also other twins. Every time you see twins, they're just referring to the 2 pillars of Gemini. Stellarium likes to speak to me, so I went on Stellarium to just pull up 9/11 again. And, you know, the moon is there at the tip of the horn of the, you know, the right horn of Taurus, right where Trump was born. That's the Crab Nebula. And then Saturn was between the 2 horns, which is the Silver Gate. And then the Metis, which I'd never seen before, pops up. And it's on Castor in Gemini. Jupiter is right between the 2 towers when they took them down. That's the god of this realm. It's Zeus. And remember I said October 28th, 3 days before All Saints' Day, is the moon is the full moon, which is aligning to the Osiris festival, right? When Osiris is the one that has to get killed, and then, his born again son from him, the whole story, Egyptian story. So I wanted to see when, the Mati, where it was at that date. And of course, it's in the exact same spot as 9/11. And I was like, ooh, that's really a coincidence. I don't think so. And then they had Vesta there. Vesta is the altar. So I just wanted to do a little brief history on the Mati, and I was really shocked to see what their flag was. So their flag was the number 8, the infinity symbol, or if you want to say the Mobius strip. So that I was surprised. And now the whole thing about the Mati is that they're mixed blood, right? They're half French Canadian and half Indian, Native American Indian mother. That was how it originally started. And so they're just kind of like, they call them like half-breds. But I think they're really important to this story because they're partly, I think Native Americans are like really, really important in the sense that they can lucid dream. They have really a connection to the earth from their ancestries, being so connected. And so Dan Winters explains, how they have these ancient song lines. They know how to use the ley lines and how to kind of pull ancestral memory, like through a shamanic way, and understanding, how to heal and stuff from this way of understanding how the earth works. It's really what we need to be going towards. But I just found this all kind of a coincidence with their flag, and then, it's almost like they don't want them to escape, and get to this higher realm. And they, I always feel like the Native Americans have had a bad rap, just with what that was done to them, and then, kind of put into these reservations, and then alcoholism, and then no water, and then, it's just a big nightmare. So they're suppressing them for a reason, because I do believe they're very, very powerful in the ability to be psychokinetic and lucid dreamers. So the flag again here has the infinity symbol as well, with the M, which could be a W upside down. But there's a town named after them in Quebec, the Metis Semur, which is like of the sea. And they're saying that the meaning of the word, it was hard to find it when I was just Googling the Metis, but what it had it in here saying it's called the meeting place. So I almost see like the number 8, is the Mobius strip, and it is the meeting place. It's like 0 point, right, at the center, which is where you've got to make this jump. You've got to create this meeting point of these two realities, and you've got to transfer through the veil. This is really what ascension is. So I just thought that was cool, that it was all tied into there, and it just all aligns with 9/11 and then the fall of 2023. Like, with it being in the same spot in the sky, right on the twin towers of Gemini. And of course, they had a set of twins in the Truman Show with this rooster picture. And I'll go into what the rooster means because I found out a link to that. But this is interesting that they had to put the twins in, right? Most shows have twins. It's referencing the two realms. It's because Pollux is immortal and Castor isn't. And also the two twins, Geminis, were always on horses, so that ends up being the 8-legged horse as well of Odin's horse. Okay, so it's all like, it's layers of theology that kind of goes into the astrology. It's kind of amazing how they're all intertwined. We also know Neptune is the god of horses. He's god of the sea horses. And the Truman Show was in Sea Haven. That was the name of the town. And he's getting the trumpet blown at him, which is symbolic to biblical text with the trumpets. And then he meets this girl that, wants to awaken him. She's an awakened soul, and she's trying to awaken him out of his illusion. And on her sweater it says, "How's it going to end?" And she tells him it's all fake, and then she gets pulled away by this kind of fake father figure of hers, and he says, "Well, I'm taking her to Fiji." Okay, and it's always about Fiji Island, but we know about Fiji Mountain, what that means, and it's a sacred mountain. It's basically number 9 again. Okay, it's always the pyramid is number 9, so it's the way out of here. So that was cool. And then he gets so frustrated, he starts to see that's an illusion. He goes, "I'm going to get out of here. I'm leaving. I'm going to go into the water," which he's terrified of because they killed his father in the water. And he's, of course, on the ship, which would represent the Carina ship. And then it's got the eagle on there, which is representing, freedom. And they put storms and they try to kill him in the water. But then eventually he hits the wall. And he realizes that he's in a trap. And he, isn't fearful to leave anymore. And he goes out the door. And that's the end of the movie. Sorry if somebody haven't seen it yet, but that was just a synopsis of the movie, and I just ruined your movie. But it's just really fascinating because it's all tying into what we're living right now as an awakened soul, and the people that aren't awake, and they don't know that it's an illusion, and you can't convince them that it's not. It's something that they have to figure out on their own. But it was just really amazing. So this is all really that we're Truman in the Truman Show, and there's beings watching us, and they're rooting for us to get out, but some of them don't want us to get out, right? So it's kind of like, who's going to make, how's it going to end? Who's going to get out and who isn't? That's what we're living. So my last video was all about the number 23 movie and how this all tied into the Fuji girl, the Fuji water girl at the Golden Globes, which happens to always be on January 6th, which again is when Pluto's moving into, the Odin Wild Hunt Festival Day, the Epiphany Day. Okay, so they've tied the Golden Globes to January 6th. Now, I want to bring this all home now, to bring this all back to December 23rd. Now, December 23rd, I've done videos all on this before. It's all about Sigillaria Day. There's other holidays on that day as well, which I haven't gone into, but I will go into today. And so I want to really look at the sky on what's happening in October in the sky, and then again in December. And then, of course, now January 6th, Pluto's going into Capricorn. So I'm going to go through all of it, and then I'm going to recap at the end so you can see it in chronological order and how this all is going to play out in 2023. But somebody sent me, after the last video, somebody left a comment about the song December 1963. And I was like, oh, yeah, I love that song. So anyhow, I want to read you the lyrics because I think it's relevant. I'm sure you remember. It's like, oh, what a night. It goes on like that. I'm not a good singer, but anyhow, the song lyrics are hypnotizing, memorizing me. She was everything I dreamed she'd be. Sweet surrender, what a night. I felt a rush like a rolling bolt of thunder, spinning my head around and taking my body under. Oh, what a night. Why did it take so long to see the light? Seems so wrong, but now it seems so right. What a lady, what a night. Oh, I got this funny feeling that she walked into the room, and as I recall, it ended much too soon. Oh, what a night. So this is really, he's people think, oh, he's singing about this woman that he met. No. This is about Venus, okay? And because she takes you under, and she, it's a lightning bolt. This is what happens. And why did it take you so long to see the light? So the name of the song is December 1963. Okay, and that's why I was kind of like, oh my God, I better go look at the sky to see what's happening in December. I'm so focused on October, so I thought I'd better go check. And I can't believe what's in the sky at that time. And it's all tying back to Sigillaria Day. I was on Sigillaria for 2020 with the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. I was like, oh no, it's all about Sigillaria Day. And I was fixated on December 23rd. I was. And you guys know if you've been listening to my channel last fall. And then, nothing happened. And I was like, okay, I was convinced it was all about Sigillaria Day. So it is. But when is the event going to happen? Like, is it going to be the end of October? Is it going to be in December? We're going to have to, kind of play it out and see. But there's more happening in December than in October, like what's happening in the sky. 1963, was when the Beatles came over to Ed Sullivan's show. Well, they came over in February in 1964, but their hit record was in 1963. And February, 2964, I'm not sure if it was September 2nd or February 9th. I'm not sure. I didn't look into that. But the point is, it's the number. The 9 and the 2 is the 9/11 again. And why is that song so relevant? I Want to Hold Your Hand. It's because the head of Cetus, the seahorse, or the, Moby Dick, whatever you want to call him, the monster in the sky, his head is the hand of God. That's what it represents. It looks like a hand, like a paddle, the way the stars are. And they call it the hand of God. And obviously, whoever was managing the Beatles, with their album covers and everything, was definitely an esoteric person. But this is kind of like, creepy in a way. They put the face masks on them. So this is all projection for future events. And so this is what I'm saying. This is 60 years later. We're living through what they were showing us back then. So it's like we're just looping. We're just looping symbolism over and over again. Another song in 1963 was The End of the World. Every day I have to cry, every step of the way, 18 yellow roses. But the one that sticks out to me there is The End of the World, right? So there's other songs also. Fly Me to the Moon, which is, it's all about the moon, right? The rabbit. Okay, so that was kind of funny when I saw that. And this one is even more hysterical because it's Alice in Wonderland with Neil Sedaka. Okay, I didn't even know he did a song like that. But of course it's all about Alice in Wonderland. It's all to do with rabbit, following the rabbit. I'm late. So down the rabbit holes, and we're Alice or we're Truman, whichever you want to see yourself as. But you really want to be the Cheshire Cat and just disappear, but not leave. Yeah, I did a whole video on the Alice in Wonderland theory, which is really quantum. And if you Google non-oriental wormholes, it'll pull you all to the Alice in Wonderland theory and also to the Cheshire charge, which is really what your DNA has to do to be able to survive this event. Days of Wine and Roses. This is all going back to Dionysus because he was the god of wine, and he's the god that teaches you to ascend, right? The Dionysus grapes and everything. This is all symbolism of ascension. The lyrics are good on this one. The days of wine and roses laugh and run away like a child at play. Through a meadow, land towards a closing door, a door marked nevermore, that wasn't there before. The lonely night discloses just a passing breeze filled with memories of a golden smile that introduced me to the days of wine and roses and you. So that's the lyrics, and it's like there's a door, and it's not going to be there forever. You got to get to it, and yeah, it's really Dionysus. So that's what they're singing about. The band Florence and the Machine did a song called Rabbit Heart, and the whole video is about Dionysus and the wine. She gets sacrificed because she doesn't want to drink the wine, and then she gets floating in the river. She basically gets sacrificed because she's the rabbit, right? You're either the rabbit or you drink the wine, one of the two. So let's look at the lyrics on this one because it's a more modern song, 2009. But I like it how it ties Dionysus to the rabbit. Okay, so the looking glass, so shiny and new, like Alice in Wonderland. How quickly the glamour fades. I start spinning, slipping out of time. Yeah, you do when you go on the Mousetrap. Was the wrong pill to take. She's talking about Alice in Wonderland, right? So you made a deal, and now it seems you have to offer up. But will it ever be enough? It's not enough. It says, raise it up, raise it up. Here I am, a rabbit-hearted girl, frozen in the headlights. It seems like I've been the final sacrifice. We raise it up, the offering, we raise it up. This is a gift. It comes with a price. Who is the lamb and who is the knife? Midas, is king, and he holds me so tight and turns me to gold in the sunlight. I look around, but I can't find you. Raise it up, raise it up. If only I could see your face, raise it up. Instead of rushing towards the skyline, I wish that I could be brave. I must become a lion-hearted girl, ready for a fight before I make the final sacrifice. Yeah, so it's like Midas is, the sun. Aries is the lamb. The knife is the sword. And, it's really King Arthur's sword in the stone. And you've got to turn that into a wand, right? And then you become the lion-hearted girl, and you're not the rabbit anymore. So yeah, it's all there. It's like it's once you know the story, it's like it's pretty much everywhere. It's like I love it that you guys keep sending me stuff because it's fun for me because I'm like, you guys can see it all now because it's so projected in our timeline right now. All of this mythology, it's everywhere. It's even in this shoe. The Nike shoe. It's the Amanita muscaria mushroom. You guys know that Christmas is all about the mushrooms. So Sigillaria is for sure a tree, and that was the first tree on the planet. But it also ties into the magic mushroom, the Alice in Wonderland mushroom, the red cat mushroom is Amanita muscaria. I did a video on all that back to the Eleusinian mysteries. They were taking the mushroom to get into heightened states of spirituality, right? So the mushroom's important because it takes you to the other realm, but it also ties into being, part of the tree of life. Okay, so now they've got the shoe out, and look what they say on the shoe. Look what's written on the shoe. It's crazy. Somebody sent me this. I couldn't believe it. So they speak about it being the Amanita muscaria magic mushroom. Then it says on it, empty your mind. Then it says they hide the little mushroom. And then it says, please don't step on me. I'm trying to grow. But it's spelled Groe. Then it says plant emoji on the sole of one shoe. And then the other shoe it says with eyes. Yeah, you need your eyes open, man, and your mind empty to see through the illusion of this madness. It's crazy times. Like, they've got shoes, it's like movies, it's like, I'm just like, I can't believe it. But once you see that they're telling you everything, they're telling us everything. You just have to figure it out. You have to, see the puzzle and work through the maze. So after somebody sent me the shoe, then somebody sent me this where it's saying Dr. Pepper has the number 23 on it. Catch 23 flavors. It's like, oh my God. Oh, it's just the flavors, right? It has nothing to do with the number. No. Catch 22, anyone? Want to be the fool that gets the heck out of here and everybody's telling us we're fools? So I had never known about this episode in Seinfeld, which is called Festivus, which is all about December 23rd. It's supposed to be an uncommercialized Christmas holiday that they made up, where they don't want Christmas to be all about money. And of course they picked December 23rd, and they represent it with a pole and a cross that it's sitting on. Okay, so it's kind of like, okay, there's symbolism there. First of it's the X, it's the cross, and then there's this pole. Is that the wand, or is that, is it the tree of life? Really, it's representing the tree of life, okay? But they just have it as a pole now. So I want to get into this because it has some interesting history. The Seinfeld episode was called The Strike, which O'Keefe's son, Dan O'Keefe, co-wrote. Okay, so Daniel O'Keefe created this festival called the Festivus, all to do with, not having to buy stuff on Christmas. And so you're allowed to complain and moan about Christmas and about your airing your grievances. This is what the holiday's about. It's like the total opposite of what people do at Christmas. But it's fascinating because he talks about where it came from, how he got the idea and how he celebrated it. And this is what really caught my eye. So the phrase that goes with this holiday is called Festivus for the rest of us. So it's really about originally referring to those remaining after the death of the elder O'Keefe mother, Jeanette, in 1976. The rest of us. are the living as opposed to the dead. So yeah, so they're kind of bringing in the dead and the living there. But it was more about what he said about how his dad celebrated it. The Festivus clock. In 2013, CNN segment on the origins of Festivus, O'Keefe spoke about the real-life experience related to the holiday. O'Keefe's father, who originated some of how recognized Festivus traditions, used a clock in a bag and nailed it to a wall, not an aluminum pole. It was never the same bag, rarely the same clock, but always the same wall. The nailing was most often done in secret and when revealed proudly to the family afterwards. The younger O'Keefe told CNN, the real symbol of the holiday was a clock that my dad put in a bag and nailed to the wall every year. I don't know why, and I don't know what it means. He would never tell me. He would always say, that's not for you to know. Okay, so it's like time stops, man. It's in a bag and it's nailed to a wall, and December 23rd is when the time stops. So this is really significant, and so then they decided to turn it into a pole, which is kind of like looking like Charlie Brown Christmas tree, and that has symbolism as well, because the pillars, right? It's the pillar. Is it the middle path pillar? It could be, if you want to see it that way. But anyhow, I was just like blown away when I saw this. I was like, oh my God, it's about time. It's about timeline jumps. It's like, you got to make that jump. Mobius strip. So then it's, being used a lot. Okay, so they used it during Super Bowl in 2000. In 2005, Governor Jim Dole was declared governor of Festivus. In 2010, a CNN story featuring Jerry Stiller detailed the increasing popularity of the holiday. And it got into politics again there. And then Google, 2012, Google introduced a custom search result for the term Festivus. So U.S. Senator Rand Paul released a special Festivus edition. And then Tampa Bay Times became, for the first newspaper, to allow readers to submit Festivus grievances. So anyhow, it's obviously they're trying to push this into our consciousness. I do think it's for a reason, because I think it's relevant. I do think December 1963 to 2023, I think it's all to do with the number 23. And the significance of Sigillaria Day. In 2013 and 14, a festival pole constructed of 6 feet of beer cans was erected next to a nativity scene and other religious holiday displays in Florida State Capitol building as a protest supporting the separation from church and state. Whoa, that's crazy. Here are some fun memes with Chuck Norris, and of course he's between the two poles. So he needs 2 poles because he has so many grievances. So yeah, when you're really in, grumpy mode and mad and scared and all this, you don't get away from these 2 poles. Then they turned it into Game of Thrones. Trump used this poster, but then, the sword, down in the ground, it's stuck in the stone. And that means you're trapped in this realm. You don't get out. You've got to be able to turn your sword into a wand. They also bring Norse mythology with Loki. Your brother may always win the Feast of Strengths, but you always have, I think, the best pole. Okay, so I want to do a video on this. Actually, somebody brought this to my attention again about the golden bow and the significance of all that and how it all ties into the tree of life. Okay, so I will do a video on this topic as well. I got so much to share with you guys. It's like, I'm trying to keep up. But anyhow, it's just interesting that they, using the pole again. Is the pole the wand? You know, is that really what it represents? You have the single pole. You're on the middle path. Okay, so this is what's happening in the sky on December 23rd, 2023. And you notice how the numbers are playing 223, a 1, and then 223 again. Like, that's really significant, right? Because that's the skull and bones number. And then the moon is on the Pleiades with heaven, Uranus there as well, all in the shoulder of Taurus, you know, which is your third eye, and the moon is there. And I'm kind of just like, oh, wow, because this is the moon being by the Pleiades means murder. Okay, this I read this in ancient texts, and I can't find it again, but it's stuck in my head. And so I'm kind of like, would this be, you know, the time, you know, if something happened to Trump, would it be then instead of October? Who knows? I don't know now if it's going to be October or December, but I just want to show you what's in the sky so you guys can kind of weigh the significance of it. So the date has a double 223. And then if you take 9/11, it all has to line to 9/11, okay, through the numbers. And to this December 23rd date, you get 22 years and 3 months. So you get the 223 again. You also get 267 months. So I wanted to check that out in Gematria. So in Gematria, the number in reverse ordinal 267 is divide and conquer. It's also 2020, so we get 22. Then we get 33 degrees, so we get, you know, the 3-3. So, you know, kind of like, this is all pretty significant. So, of course, there had to be a song, right? So, of course, there is. There's like a rapper song called 223s, and then featuring 9. Okay, so 9, Loki 9. Is it Loki? Loki 9. So it's almost like Loki, which is the Norse god. So you know, there's the date. It's right in their video, the 23rd of December in 2023. It's right there. Okay, they're showing you the date. So I'm just like, this is looking pretty, you know, good confirmation here that this is the date. And then in the same song, the girl's reading a book with 223 on it. Okay, so I'm just kind of like, okay. It's like, they all know. Like, how can they not know? Somebody knows. It's like, oh, it's so funny. I really feel like we're in the Truman Show. They're all acting. And it's all joke is on us. It's pretty funny. Do they want us to get out? Or maybe they don't want us to get out, like the Truman Show. The actors don't want you to catch on. So there's the 322 number for the skull and bones, you know, which is all tying into Harvard School and the Bush family and John Kerry and all those members. And this is where it just slam dunks it, guys. Genesis 3:22. We got the number, 22 verse. Okay, so 22 is important. Then the Lord said, behold, the man has become like one of us in knowing good and evil. Now lets he reach out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. So 322 is about being immortal, okay? Because you can now see the good and evil. You see what it is. You see it's an illusion, and therefore you can get, you know, eat the part of the tree of life that will make you immortal. You eat the hanging fruit. You aren't the hanging fruit. You get to eat it. If you eat it, you become immortal. If you don't want to see it, you become the rabbit and the sacrifice, like in that song with Florence and the Machine. It's all in that video. It's showing. I guess this is where the lets he reach out his hand. The I want to hold your hand Beatles song. It must all tie into this phrase. It's also Michelangelo's painting where God reaches out, you know, and touches his hand. Yep, I guess that's the symbolism. It has to be 322. Okay, so December 23rd, 2023, we had the moon by the Pleiades. Now, Mercury is really important. He's the, you know, Loki. He's the messenger of the gods. He's Hermes. And Enki, who is also the same character, are both in conjunction with the sun in the Golden Gate. Okay, so it's kind of like, whoa. And then Mars is also there, more in Ophiuchus, not so much in Sag, but which is war. Okay, so this is what's happening there, and I want to show you where Osiris is. So you guys know that Osiris is like the tree of life. He also has to die, right? So he is in Scorpio, who represents death, who is ruled by Pluto. He's in actually Ophiuchus. Well, it's the upper house of Scorpio. But he's in, if you notice here, I circled where he is, and he's in Ophiuchus. And Circe's there too. She's like the god. She's on the Apostles of Washington painting in the Capitol building. She's kind of like the harvest queen, right? So she's there too, all in the doorway. Then they're right beside Messier 19, well, Osiris is. And, we got the number 19, which all ties into Jesus. Well, this is at Christmas Day when Mars is in Ophiuchus, war, and then Mercury moves into Ophiuchus out of the Golden Gate on the 23rd. He was there in conjunction with the sun, but now he's going into Ophiuchus. So you see, this is really significant, and this is all on Christmas Day at midnight. And Christmas Day at midnight is, when the full moon is, on December 26th. So it's just like, a few minutes before the full moon day on December 26th. So it ties into the full moon, which is what we needed for the Osiris festival. So it can either be the one in October or the one in December, I'm assuming. But it's looking to me more like December, but who knows? Maybe they'll want to make the event in the actual Osiris festival, which runs in October, okay, to November 3rd, which is the election day in the United States. So we don't know which one they're going to pick for the symbolism. All I'm saying is the whole fall of December, October, December in 2023 is extremely loaded. And this is all tying into the rabbit year 60th Jubilee. Now, on the 23rd, the moon was by the Pleiades, but now it's at the horn of Taurus, which is Alnath star. And this is like the devil star, okay? Trump was born on the other horn, which is the Crab Nebula, but this horn represents the father devil. Okay, so it's like, whoa, that's pretty crazy that the moon is there and it's almost full. Like this is like 5 minutes before it's full. Oh, it's not father devil. It's actually father hell. Yeah, this is what they call it. In Babylonian, it was Sir Nakabit. Oh, I can't even pronounce that. But anyhow, the star of the bull towards the north. And it was the devourer of the sacrifice. Yeah, so, this isn't looking good. The moon is there, so I think the moon in that placement is way more important than in October. Yeah, because in October it's in Aries, the crown of God, the lamb, also the sacrifice. But who knows? So yeah, who knows? It's still up for grabs, but to me, December seems more relevant now. And I really do think with all the symbolism for the December 1963 song and just the whole sigillaria, it's like, yeah, it's got more weight to it, I think, than the October date. So December 23, Trump would be 77 years old and 6 months and 9 days. And, the 6 and 9, which is actually the alchemic symbol for Cancer, which is the only constellation ruled by the moon. And this is when the moon is by the Pleiades, which means murder. Okay, so it's 930 months and 9 days. So we got 9, 3, and a 9. So, and you could switch that 9 upside down, so you got your 3, 6, 9. Okay, so this is significant. So I'm thinking, that his numbers are aligning. So if something was to happen to him, it would be on December 23rd, and then 2 days later, the moon is on the opposite horn of where he was born. Okay, so it's like, that's significant as well. Because it's an entrapment. It's a trap. If he dies, people are going to go into huge grievance, and it's a setup. okay, because, he knows the whole plan. That's why he stepped down and caused that whole thing at the Capitol building, and then it ended up, that he had to, step away from the presidency and everything and not fight for it. It's all a game. Don't tell me that wasn't pre-planned. Like, I knew Odin was going to show up. Come on, you know, and he shows up. It has to be pre-planned. But then again, October eclipse is very important. 11 years, or pillar years, after the annual solar eclipse that crossed the western United States on May 20th, 2012, which is when the Mayans said the world was coming to an end, right? A new, fresh start was happening, is exactly tying into this October 14th, 2023 eclipse. So there's an attachment now to 2012 to this October 14th eclipse. And this eclipse is really important because it's on the Spica Tree of Life star, okay, the Washington Monument. So maybe October is, so I'm kind of like, dancing back and forth. But all we know is 2023 is the loaded year, okay, in the sky. So on May 20th, which we're coming up to this time right now, the sun is always by the Pleiades. And that's when they did the George Floyd thing, when the Atlas comet came through. It was, now they're doing the war in Israel. So there's always like kind of bad stuff seems to happen around this time of year, okay? Now, at the beginning of the day on May 20th in 2012, the moon was in conjunction with Mercury. And then it moves, because the moon moves pretty fast, it ends up eclipsing the sun right on the line, very close to the Pleiades. Eclipses are really important because it's like the two pillars, in conjunction. You have the sun, which is Leo, and then you have the moon, which is Cancer, and that's the Lion's Gate, right? The Lion's Gate has them flanking Leo and Cancer. So now it looks like a snake's eye. So this is really important that it's by the Pleiades. This is super important, right? It's ruled by Venus. It would be your third eye when you run your chakras with Aries on top. So that eclipse in May 2012 has a relationship with this eclipse that happens to be on the Spica star. So we go from the Pleiades, which is it's all about the Pleiades, and then to the Spica star, which is the Washington Monument. And we have 2P Enki. It's another Enki that's in conjunction with Mercury. And Mars is there too in October in 2023. So this is why I'm like, oh, this is really significant. But then everything that's happening on Christmas, 2020, December 23 is really significant as well. So we've got two really strong dates here, and they both align to full moons. Well, this one doesn't, but the October 28th full moon aligns to the festival of Osiris, tying into this one. 3 days later is when the festival begins on October 17th, and then we have the full moon on October 28th. The numbers from that October 14th eclipse in 2023 to the Sigillaria day is exactly 70 days. 2 months and 9 days. So we get the 9/11 again. It's 10 weeks. Yeah, so I'm kind of like thinking this is pulling to Sigillaria most likely. Let's compare the meanings of the day. So it's the 302nd day of the year is October 29th and the 37th day of the fall. So this is, October is 10, so 29. So you get a 9111. But 44 means kill in gematria. So yeah, it's interesting. December 23rd is the 357th day, 51st Saturday, and then it's the third day of winter. Queen Sylvia's birthday in Sweden, and this other festival called the Decolo Festival, which is in Chile. 357 in gematria, the revelation from Jesus Christ. It's also in not just reverse. I think this is like just normal gematria, the first line. and then resurrection from the dead. Okay, so yeah, that's a significant number that we don't probably know about. Let's just see how important December 23rd was in history. So George Washington resigns. Uranus, the heaven planet, was observed for the first time. Van Gogh cuts off his ear in the year 1888, lots of eights, and I wonder if that has to do with the rabbit being in Mandela's ear statue. Assassination attempt on Lord Charles Hardinge. So we got assassination, again, another one relating to Squeaky for the Gerald Ford attempt assassination. There's Flip Wilson, who kind of, made everything turn into a nightmare for the United States when he signs the Federal Reserve Act into law, so no longer Federal Reserve was part of the U.S. Nasty guy. Right after they sunk the Titanic, with everybody who was protesting that. Not a nice man, Flip Wilson, I call him. And then Wizard of Oz, there was a fire hazard on December 23rd. First astronauts to circle the orbit of the moon. Of course, the moon has to be tied into December 23rd. Then the UN Security Council adopts a landmark resolution demanding a halt to Israel's settlement in Palestinian territory. So this is all tying into what's happening right now. This is also relating to December 23rd. Of course, Trump never signed it. December 23rd, 1970, the 7,511th performance of Agatha Christie's play, The Mousetrap, record in London West End. So why would they put that in, right? Oh, it's The Mousetrap. Very important play. It's kind of creepy, but I'll let you know in on it. It's kind of sick, where it was all about a child, an orphan child, that ends up getting beaten to death. It's a true story. And then, they have to figure out who murdered this child. And so she does this whole play, Agatha Christie, on, who done it. But these people hardly went to prison at all. I think the man, 6 months, or, I don't know, it wasn't very long for killing this poor orphan child. The weird part was she dedicated it to the birthday present for Queen Mary and consort King George V. Now, it's not a very nice play to designate somebody to their birthday. It's about the murder of this small child that gets abused, from orphan foster parents. Like, this is terrible. So it's almost like she was doing it kind of like letting them know she knew what was going on with these children. Maybe she did that as kind of like I'll show you, that I know that who knows. But it seems kind of suspicious to me that she would dedicate it to the Queen Mary. Why would they say the 7,511th performance? The number 7, the number 2, and 9 again. And then the 37, which is the decodes 369, right? 37 times 3 is 111, 37 times 6 is 222, and 37 times 9 is 333. So it's the key number. So, and then we got the 7. And then also counts of divisors, is number 8. So we get the infinity loop there too. So I'm sure this is how esoteric language works. It's all to do with numbers and dates and symbolism to these events and shows and everything. It's all to do with theological history of our planet and the stories, and you just have to know your history. Once you know your history, you can figure out what the heck's going on. There's lots of different book covers for this book or play or whatever. This one's like you're in a trap, you're in a maze, and the mouse trap is there. Ejection, are you going to get injected? Are you on the string? How long is your life going to be? And then there's the dagger. Okay, now this is also known as the Day of the Dagger, December 23. Okay, so that's weird. The sword, the dagger, maybe that's why they use the sword for the meme for the Festivus. So even now, well, like in 2002, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip went to see this play again, okay, on November 22nd. So, yeah, and then they have this number of the performance that they went to see. It was the 22,461 performance. So we got a 22461. So it's like 2 2, the 4 and the 6, it comes to 10, so it's a 1, so it's 2211. So, you know, you got the 11 in your 2 2. So it's like, you know, you're in the box again. It's always, you know, the box. So interesting, very interesting. This is all connecting. So we're basically just in a mousetrap. That's what we are. And they're kind of letting us know that. So just in case people haven't watched my old videos about Sigillaria and Saturnalia, here's Saturnalia. It's December 17th to December 23rd. It was the original Christmas. It was over the winter solstice, and the servants pretended they were the elite, and the elite pretended they were the servants. And, you know, it was kind of like party time. It ties into immortality. It shows it here. I want to just discuss this a little bit. So a Neoplatonic philosopher was saying that this was represented freeing the souls into immortality. That's what Sigillaria Day is all about. And then it all ties into Saturna, it was originally called. And this goes into the Talmud. Okay, it was written in the Jewish Talmud, all to do with this day as well. So anyhow, I like that part where it said the freeing of souls into immortality ties to this day. So that's why I really do think December 23rd is the day. I've always thought that, and now I can't believe the sky is showing so much, and I found out more information about December 23rd. They even have it marked down in ancient Rome. Sigillaria Day was December 23rd. This was found of a fossil from Nova Scotia in Canada, which is one of the first Sigillaria trees. It was just like a big pole. So this is why the festival of Festivus is probably a pole. It's because it's the Sigillaria tree, right? And, you know, this is all tying into the first tree that's ever been on this planet. It's like millions and millions and millions of years old, and it was a moss tree. It's hard to find pictures of it. Usually they have like two, like kind of like horns on the top, but I had found pictures of it in some science mag, and it was just a pole. So, you know, it was in one of my old videos. You can go back and look at it. But anyhow, it's fascinating. It's the pole. The pole, it's like the maypole. You know, it's the maypole. They dance around the pole. It's the tree of life. That's why an obelisk is a pole. Other festivals on December 23rd is this festival. What's it called now? Tom Beaucock Eve, and it has to do with a rooster, a beau coq in French, and it was a pagan holiday. This is why I think they had it in the Truman Show, because of the number. You know, it brings us to the date December 23. So then St. Tib's Eve is also the evening of the last day, the Day of Judgment. Okay, so again, Day of Judgment, December 23rd. This is all tying into Genesis, 322, Skull and Bones, 322. It's just a date. That's what they're putting in it's a date. It's a friggin' date. It's the year and the day. Yeah, I mentioned before about the Cola of Our Lady Festival. Okay, this was also in December. They're saying December 26th here, but that would be when the moon goes full moon. And it's a copper queen, and it's all to do with like ascension. This is all tying around the same time. And then this festival popped up when I was Googling about December 23rd, which is an Egyptian holiday. But then they have it as the national holiday is actually July 23rd, which is really the Sirius star, right? July 23rd is the Sirius star. That happens to be my birthday, which is weird. Born on the 23rd, I was, and married on the 23rd to my late husband in May, right by the Pleiades. Had no idea at the time. You know, just weird coincidences in life. I'm sure you guys, I know you got a lot telling me about your numbers and number 23 and everything. And, um, you know, it's just, I think we know. I think we preset everything is in our higher mind so that it helps us awaken. I think that this is what this realm is all about, connecting to your higher self or to God so that you can get the information to teach you how to get out of here. A more recent holiday is called the Human Light Holiday on December 23rd. It's all like rising up towards the sun. They look like a bunch of little Pluto people, like the Pluto alchemic symbol. Okay, so let's just recap chronologically what's happening in the sky in 2023. October 14th is the eclipse, which ties to the one in 2012 on the Tree of Life, Washington Monument star, Spica star. 3 days later, the Osiris festival starts. Then we have a full moon on October 28th, which is still part of the Osiris festival, in like close to the hand of God of Sittis in Aries, with Jupiter there, the god, and heaven there. The eclipse in December is December 12th, and we have Osiris, Mars, the sun, the moon, all in the Golden Gate at the base of Ophiuchus. December 23rd, which is a Sigillaria day or a Festivus day, the moon is now beside the Pleiades again, with Uranus heaven there as well. 223 numbers. And then Osiris is in Ophiuchus with Mars, war, also on December 23rd. And the sun is in conjunction with Mercury and Enki, really important, in the Golden Gate. The two messengers that want to free humanity, Hermes and Enki. The moon moves into the Father Hell star, Alnath, the other horn of Taurus, opposing where Trump was born. And this is 5 minutes before midnight on Christmas Day, which is the full moon on the 26th. So December 29th, the moon goes into its own house, which ends up being in the Lion's Gate. So that's significant coming into the new year. And then the moon goes into the mouth of the lion on December 30th. Then January 6, 2024, Pluto goes into the house of death or transformation, Capricorn, on Epiphany and Odin's Wild Hunt Day, January 6th, also the Golden Globe Day. And then the moon is in Libra, which has to do with justice and balance. I have found texts where Libra is actually like ties into Virgo, so it has to do with slavery as well. And that would all tie into, for the people that don't make it, right? The moon is representing their timeline. So it's interesting. So I'm just saying this whole fall of 2023 has to be really significant. It's there's too much going on. I still have more to show you guys, all about the Chinese horoscope, all tying into New York City. So I really do believe they're trying to show us it's about the Chinese year, and it is about the rabbit. And so, yeah, it's pretty obvious now. Big wheels keep on turning in the sky, and that's what it is. It's wheels within wheels, okay? So we're just in this big mechanism, and we have to find the doorway out of here, exactly like Truman did. He found the doorway out of here, and so are we, guys. It's like, it's obvious it's an illusion. There's no way what's happening is real, and they're just trying to put us in fear and stress us out so that we just can't get our DNA to activate. And the whole key is to be in bliss. So at this point, I've done my piece to help awaken people about, you know, the needle array, quantum dot, that even BBC did a special on it. It's being actually made in Wales in Swansea, which is kind of ironic that they're making it there. But anyhow, it's in the BBC, so it's not you know, conspiracy theory. They're going to push this through, and you can't convince people otherwise at this point. I've done my piece. I'm done now. I am super like just at bliss because I'm like I feel like I've taken the burden off to try to help awaken people in my everyday life by just like speaking my truth. And so now it's like they're going to choose, and whatever they choose is good for them. Okay, but it's the sky is aligning to ascension, the festivals, the theology, the mythology. It's all aligning in 2023, and then then it's aligning into Pluto, going into Capricorn, and then kind of the moon being in the slave, um, house of Libra. So it's all perfect in my mind. It's all divine. So if anybody would like natal chart readings, contact me through my website. I'll put that in the description box. And then, if you just want a natal chart, that's great. And then if you want your 3 readings for Saturn's return, so you know your whole life path. But your natal chart will tell you your life lesson. It's not what you're living now if you're an older person. It's more for the first 29 years of your life, but it still tells you what you came here to learn. And sometimes that's all you need to know, is kind of like so that you see if you've lived your life to figure that out, right? And so, yeah, so contact me, and I'm pretty happy. My database had a few glitches, but it's starting to look like it's starting to pull together and work. I do have an Instagram account, but I haven't started using it, so I got to get that going. And then I got all my charts done. So now I just got to figure out how I'm going to record it all and start to give out this information and start to present it to you. But we have time, and I'm doing as much as I can and still living my normal life. So, big deep breath. 2023. We've got a little ways to go, but lots of time to prepare. So hang in there, guys. The ride's going to get even crazier, and we just have to keep pulling ourselves away from this madness as much as we can. Bliss to you all. Bye.